Hi friends, Travis here. If you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you, and of course, if you've been here before, welcome back. If at any point you like what you see, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things. And yeah, in today's video, I'm going to talk about my recent cruise on Carnival Venezia. It was actually back in January, so it's been a few months, but I took really good notes, and I also just finished a vlog series if you want to watch that. It was a lot of fun, and so this cruise is very fresh in my mind as to how things went down. I've got Callie behind me. She's napping on the couch, so we're ready to go. And without any further delay, let's go ahead and move right on into the video. So as per my usual format, I'm going to start with the dislikes, then I'll do the likes, and then I'll give kind of like overall thoughts at the end. So I know it's going to start off a little bit negative, but don't worry, the positive stuff is to come, and this was really a great cruise. One of the best I've ever been on, so yeah. My first dislike is kind of like Carnival as a whole right now. It's been this way for, you know, the last couple of years since COVID, but I really noticed it on this sailing in particular for some reason, and that's that they seem to be nickeling and diming us a little bit more than ever before. A couple of examples are on this sailing, all of a sudden popcorn is $4. That used to be free or included. You know, if you wanted to watch the movie late night, they would have the popcorn out for everybody free for the taking. Now it was showing $4, which is kind of not only ridiculous that it's not free anymore, but that's understandable, you know, costs and whatever are going up, but $4 is steep just in general, so yeah, I didn't like that. Another thing was that in the nightclub at night, I tried to get 2 bottles of water on my way to bed, which is something I've always been able to do, and they told me 1 water per card. So I guess because I had the drink package, a lot of people were probably like, you know, taking way too many extra beverages and whatever, but 1 per card, especially at night after the nightclub when you're all turned and, you know, hit 15 drinks, is kind of dangerous in my opinion. You definitely want people to stay hydrated, and at that point in time, you know, that's really the only water you can get because the buffet and everything is closed. And so yeah, I was a little bit surprised that they wouldn't let me have 2 bottles of water. I know it seems a little bit silly, but it's just little things like that that I've been noticing my last couple of cruises, and yeah, kind of makes the experience seem a little less premium, you know, and what have you. For my second dislike, I'd have to say that this ship had some very undersized public spaces. The pool deck seems small for the ship. I understand it's one of those enclosed ones, so there's only so much space that they can, you know, put a big cover over, especially since it had a retractable roof and everything. But they tried to have big parties and events there, and once, you know, a few people showed up, it started to feel really crowded. And, you know, the way that the ship is designed, there's not good sight lines and things. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy that. Same thing with the theater. The theater, I don't even think it fits 1/3 of the guests, and they only have 2 theater shows a night. So the idea is that half is supposed to go to one and half is supposed to go to the other. But if you don't fit that many people, you know, it becomes a first come, first serve thing, or you have to reserve sometimes, etc. And it just makes it so that you miss out on stuff. And I did miss a couple of the shows that I wanted to see because they sold out, they filled up. And so yeah, I thought that was kind of a poor design choice on their part, maximizing rooms and, you know, stuff like that at the expense of public spaces, in my opinion, is not a good way to go about it. And my last dislike, this kind of piggybacks onto my second one, is that it just generally felt crowded everywhere. This ship holds a lot of people, and this class of ship is not new to the fleet, so this is criticism that this class of ship has had in the past, but especially this new Italian concept. They've really compartmentalized a lot of the spaces, you know, to give you kind of intimate spots to sit and relax and whatever, which is nice, but it also makes everywhere feel crowded because instead of big open spaces to fit a lot of people, there's all kinds of walls and corridors and things. And yeah, it just wasn't my favorite design when it came to crowd control. And with the main pool deck being undersized, there was never any loungers. I could never hardly get in the pool. Hot tubs were always full. So yeah, I think about Oasis of the Seas and the big royal ships and how they hold so many people, and yet they've also maximized the public spaces as well. And so, you know, I mean, you can get lost in those ships. And, you know, especially at certain times of day, they feel completely empty, even though the ship is full of people. So yeah, not my favorite design. I'll be on Carnival Jubilee in November, and so that's even bigger and, you know, latest and greatest, whatever, biggest ship for Carnival. So I'll see how they've modified and changed things for that. Hopefully it's better, but we'll see. And yeah. All right, enough of the negative. Let's talk about what was good, because there was tons of that on this sailing. As I mentioned, this was one of my favorite cruises that I've been on. I've been on 31, 32, something like that. More than 30 cruises at this point. And this definitely top 5 for me. And so yeah, there's more than 3 likes for me to use for this list, but I'm going to give kind of my top 3, or the 3 that fit for kind of research purposes for those watching the video. And my first like is that I have to shout out the cruise port for having a very good embarkation, a very efficient debarkation. Things were very quick. They did facial recognition and all of that, so it was very smooth, very painless. Some people had been worried about that. I'd heard horror stories of like when the ship first got there was, you know, kinks to work out, etc. It seems that's all been resolved now. I know other people in like the Facebook group and stuff talked about having issues, but I had none. I thought it was very smooth. The staff was friendly. The process was, you know, very efficient, very streamlined. So yeah, can't praise that part of it enough, because I was worried about that. And so I'm here to tell you that from my experience, you have nothing to worry about. For my second like, and of course this is kind of like luck of the draw, but I really thought that the overall people vibe on this sailing was good. From the guests to the crew to everybody, I met so many cool people, made friends, people that I've even gone on to hang out with outside of the cruising world. You know, I took a trip to Washington, D.C. recently with some of the people that I met on this sailing. You know, like I said, crew was amazing. The bartenders were super fun, super attentive. I never had to wait for a drink. Strangers from all over the country and even the world beyond were very, you know, approachable, wanted to sit down and chat. And especially being a solo cruiser this trip, it was very nice to meet people and, you know, not feel lost in the sauce, as they say. So yeah, if you were on this sailing with me in January of 2024, thank you for being there. I had so much fun. I hope you did too. And yeah. And for my last like, I'll shout out the food. This is kind of subjective because there were people on our sailing that were saying the food wasn't good. But I have to say that as far as Carnival goes, this has been the best food I've had probably ever. But at least recently, I think food for Carnival has been on the decline, especially the main dining room food. But because of their Italian concept and extra dishes and certain things, it really made a difference. Things were fresh, things were flavorful. There wasn't a single thing I got all week that I absolutely hated. And some things were so incredibly delicious. There's also a lot of fast food options like Guy's Burgers and Tomodoro, and they even had an Asian buffet in the back of the ship at one point. They even had snacks and things. I did the late night buffet a couple times. I went to the deli, all of that. But yeah, definitely loved the food on this ship, and I hope you will too. And just to kind of close things out, I'll give some final thoughts. Like I've been mentioning, this was an amazing sailing for me. I really enjoyed my time. I even spent some time in New York and explored and did a lot of the touristy stuff up there. So definitely a good trip for me. If you're coming out of New York, obviously you won't need to do any of that extra stuff. But if you're coming from somewhere else, maybe come up a couple days early and experience, you know, New York City and whatever. I stayed in a hotel that was walkable to the cruise port. So when I checked out of my hotel, I just took my luggage down the street and got on the ship. It was super easy. It wasn't perfect. There were some glitches. There will always be glitches. Nothing that you do in life will be completely perfect. And sometimes those imperfections lead you to adventures that you wouldn't have had otherwise. I always try to stay positive and enjoy my time on board as much as I can. You paid a lot of money to go. May as well do your best to enjoy the experience. And this is definitely one that will be enjoyable if you allow it to be. But yeah, I guess that's it. Let me know if you're going on Venezia soon, or if you've been on it recently, or you know what you're watching this video for, etc. Let's open up that dialogue. Let's chat in the comments. I love comments. You know, it makes me feel like I'm doing something beneficial for the world, or gives me feedback if it's not good. I recently got a comment about one of these videos that I'm boring, so sorry if you sat here for, you know, 7, 8, 9 minutes, bored to tears. But either way, I hope the information was good. I want to thank you all so much for traveling with me. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun things. We'll talk soon, and y'all have a good night.